are you enjoying it?
Well, it's been an amazing experience.
Yeah.
You know, I've never done any TV before, so to get this kind of a role and be behind the camera every week. I love my job. I love the critiquing of the dancers. I love the journey of every celebrity that's on there.
And you're hugely experienced, not only as a dancer, but in critiquing people and judging them. You've said this is your first time sort of doing it on TV. Were you prepared for the criticisms that come from people at home watching? Because obviously when you do it away from telly, it's your word and that's it, and everyone goes home. This is a whole different ballgame.
Well, my son is in TV, you know, so he's done a lot of that, and he gave me a lot of preparation, a lot of advice, FaceTimes me every day, and he said, you know, the press can be really quite difficult, the trolling, which I've struggled with, the bullying on that. But the actual show is great, but the other side of it, it's been an experience.
You've had some horrible stuff said online, haven't you?
I have, yeah.
But doesn't everybody that's really successful, as my dad always says, success is a spike only a few can sit on. And I think it's because you're really, really good.
Yeah,
I mean,
I do.
I just absolutely love you on it. I feel like, I mean, we made this joke earlier about the, you know, the terminology, but I feel like I don't always understand the technical side of it, but I feel like I'm really learning at the same time.
So it helps you when I go heel.
Yeah, I love it.
Together.
I love it.
And
I know.
What I would say is just don't read it.
Yeah.
Don't read what... I mean, Twitter's like a sort of a bit of an
It's a bit like saying to a small child, don't touch the electrical outlet, don't do this, don't do that, when you're new at it.
Yes,
So when you...
But then if you're not used to it as well, obviously doing the show and you want to see what people are saying, so if you're not used to it, you will look at it. But what would you say is some of the worst things that people have said? Even though you're just being honest.
I couldn't even repeat some of the things that people have called me and said about me or criticised my family or whatever. So, but, you know, there are some nice people on Twitter as well. So I feel like I've got, like, this little Twitter army behind me, a lovely lady called Jenny. She rallies them all up and just some really lovely people. And one or two have been mean, have actually come round now to say, well, maybe I made a mistake.
You're not doing anything wrong. You're just doing your job. You're passionate about your job. So it's not like you're not putting people down. You want them to do good, which is why sometimes you have to take criticism and stuff to do well.
I like constructive criticism. Like it was on Twitter that one lady said, what is a chassé? And another gentleman said, you know, you're talking about posture, but, you know, could you explain a little bit more about... So that's why on the, you know, the results show, I try a little bit more to explain it in a fun way.
You had big shoes to fill, didn't you, with Len? And everybody was sort of poised to... And I remember watching, because I've seen every episode of Strictly, and I thought you were brilliant. I thought you looked like you'd been there for years.
I didn't know you hadn't done it. Now, we've got to talk about all this nonsense, and I do think it's nonsense, about there being a fix.
Well, there's no fix, so we can, you know... None at all. I mean, it's a TV show at the end of the day. Everybody tunes in. Everybody has a chance to vote. You know, it's in everybody's living room. They're all enjoying it. There's nothing at all like that.
And Strictly has helped you look forward to Christmas again, because it's a really difficult time of year for you.
Well, I'm going home on Saturday evening. My mum's put a tree up for the first time. In 2003, my brother took his own life. So, and this was the time, it was all this run-up, all of November, and he died on the 5th of December. So we haven't celebrated Christmas at all, so...
He has a long history of depression.
No, he didn't. It was a short spell. You know, he would... like everybody else, you know, but he had this 6 weeks of really down, not really feeling up to himself. And my mother was with him, and it was one day when my son was singing in St. Paul's Church. So I just spoke to David on the phone, you know, and my mother... I love her to death, but it's not an over-communicative family, so I don't think I ever really understood to the great extent how sick he was, or I don't think my mum did either. And she came down to watch Mark at the church singing, and it was that particular day he chose to take.
I mean, it's obviously very, very difficult, and I'm an only child, but I know people who have siblings. It's a very close relationship anyway. But yours was particularly close, because he was a bit like a father figure, wasn't he?
Well, he was, you know, we lived on a housing estate where there was a lot of bullying, and he was a very soft child, but he had to learn to get tough. You know, he was the voice on the housing estate when other people didn't have a voice. And he would be always the one saying, you must be home on time, make sure you're going to your dancing. He was my biggest fan, you know. He was not just my brother, he was like a father figure. We would talk every day. You know, he had a daughter called Mary, and we'd talk every day about my son and his daughter. And yeah, it was difficult. It was very difficult. I lost a big part. You know, I always felt safe with him. Very safe.
So you took Mary under your wing, didn't you?
I did. She's the most inspiring young lady you could possibly imagine. Not only did she lose her father, but she also lost her mother to alcoholism.
And she was only 10 at the time.
At the 10 when her daddy died, and
beautiful.
a few years ago with her mum. So I'm so proud of her. You know, my mother and I are extremely close to her. She's a strong woman. I mean, I know that she has pain inside and this, and we talk. She communicates. She communicates. I say to anybody out there, communication is the biggest thing. You know, if you're feeling under the weather, or if you feel like you're down and out, is to call somebody, pick up a phone. You know, it is a subject that you can talk about when you're not feeling good, and that's what I love the most about Mary. She communicates.